Wilted flower, they never reach out. They never speak. But they are always watching. And you have no idea, hourglass not done briefcase, there is a silence surrounding this connection that few people would ever understand. On the outside, it looks as though nothing is happening. Days pass. Weeks pass. Sometimes months go by without a single message, without a call, without even the smallest sign that they still exist within your world. You wonder if they have forgotten. You question if you ever truly mattered. You ask yourself why someone who once seemed so present could suddenly become so distant, so unreachable, and so impossible to understand. But what you cannot see is often more powerful than what is visible. Because while they never reach out, while they never speak, while they never explain themselves, they are watching, not casually, not accidentally, and certainly not because they have nothing better to do. They watch because some part of them never truly left. You may think they have moved on completely. You may believe they are living their life without a second thought about you. Perhaps they appear happy in photographs. Perhaps they seem occupied with work, responsibilities, friends, and daily routines, yet beneath that carefully maintained image exists another reality. There are moments when your name suddenly appears in their mind without warning, moments when a familiar song begins to play and instantly reminds them of you. Moments when they visit places you once talked about together, moments when they stop scrolling through endless distractions and wonder what you are doing at that exact second. You do not know these moments exist because they never tell you. Their silence has become their shield. Some people are experts at pretending they do not care. They convince everyone around them that they are strong, independent, untouchable. But deep inside, emotions continue to live quietly, and those emotions often become stronger when they remain unspoken. They check your social media, they notice when you disappear, they notice when you change your profile picture, they notice when you seem happier. They notice when you seem distant. Sometimes they look for clues, small hints that reveal whether you still think about them, whether you still miss them, whether someone else has taken their place, yet they refuse to make the first move. Why? Because reaching out would force them to face feelings they have spent so much energy trying to avoid. For some people, silence feels safer than vulnerability. Speaking requires courage. Watching requires nothing. Watching allows them to stay connected while protecting themselves from possible rejection. It gives them the illusion of control. As long as they remain silent, they never have to hear words they fear the most. I don't need you anymore. I've moved on, I've found someone else. So instead of risking pain, they choose distance. Instead of asking questions, they search for answers from afar. Instead of expressing emotions, they observe, and sometimes they become so accustomed to observing that they forget how to participate in someone's life again. You may have sensed this already. There are moments when you suddenly feel their energy surrounding your thoughts. You wake up unexpectedly thinking about them after weeks of not remembering they existed. You wonder why. You tell yourself it means nothing, yet somehow the feeling lingers. The truth is that human connections rarely disappear as easily as people pretend. Especially connections that changed us, especially connections that taught us important lessons, especially connections that arrived during periods when we felt lost, uncertain, or emotionally exposed. Those experiences leave marks, invisible marks, marks that remain long after conversations stop, long after goodbyes are spoken, long after promises are broken, and perhaps this is why they continue watching. Because they still recognize the version of themselves that existed when you were together. They remember laughing more freely, dreaming more openly, feeling understood in ways they rarely experience with anyone else. Life may have carried both of you in different directions. Responsibilities may have grown heavier, expectations may have become overwhelming, people change, circumstances change, priorities shift, but memories often refuse to follow the same rules. Memories stay, memories wait, memories appear unexpectedly on ordinary afternoons. A scent, a phrase, a photograph, a movie scene, a city street, anything can trigger them. And suddenly they are back in a moment they thought they had forgotten, back in conversations that lasted until sunrise, back in times when everything felt easier, back in moments when they believed the future would unfold differently, yet they remain silent, and their silence can feel cruel, because silence creates questions. Questions rarely come with answers. You may have spent countless nights analyzing every detail. Was it something you said, something you failed to do? Did they stop caring? Did they replace you? Did they ever love you at all? These questions become exhausting. They steal peace. They consume energy. And eventually they begin affecting the way you see yourself. But someone else's inability to communicate does not define your worth. Someone else's fear does not determine your value. Someone else's silence is not proof that you are unlovable. Sometimes silence simply reveals that another person has not learned how to handle emotions maturely. Sometimes silence reveals regret. Sometimes silence reveals confusion, and sometimes silence reveals longing, longing hidden beneath pride, longing hidden beneath stubbornness, longing hidden beneath years of pretending everything is fine. You have no idea how many times they have considered reaching out, how many drafts they typed and deleted, how many messages they wrote only to erase seconds later. How many times they picked up their phone, paused, stared at your name, and then placed the phone back down. Fear can be incredibly powerful. Fear convinces people that staying disconnected is easier than risking disappointment. Fear whispers stories, stories about failure, stories about embarrassment, stories about losing control, and many people believe those stories. They allow fear to become the author of their decisions, so they watch, quietly, patiently, waiting for signs, waiting for certainty, waiting for permission that never arrives. Meanwhile, life continues moving forward. Days become months, months become years, opportunities pass. Conversations remain unfinished. And emotions become trapped inside hearts that never learned how to speak honestly. Perhaps the most surprising part is this: they may not even realize how much they are watching. It has become habit, routine, an unconscious attempt to remain connected to someone they cannot completely release. And perhaps one day they will understand what their silence cost them. Perhaps one day they will finally recognize that watching someone's life unfold from a distance can never replace participating in it. because observing happiness is not the same as sharing happiness. Observing growth is not the same as growing together. Observing love is not the same as giving love. And by the time they understand that truth, the person they kept watching may no longer be waiting, because while they remained frozen in uncertainty, you continued healing, you continued evolving, you continued becoming someone stronger than you once imagined possible, and maybe that is the lesson hidden within all of this. Not everyone who watches deserves access to your future. Not everyone who misses you deserves another chance. Not everyone who regrets losing you has earned the privilege of returning. Some people are meant to remain observers, not because they are bad, not because they never cared, but because caring without action changes nothing. Love requires movement. Connection requires effort. Relationships require presence. And silence, no matter how meaningful it feels, cannot build a future. Only courage can do that. Only honesty can do that. Only two people willing to speak, listen, and show up consistently can create something lasting. Until then, allow them to watch. Allow them to wonder. Allow them to think about what could have been, because your journey was never meant to stop simply because someone else was afraid to walk beside you.